Let's talk about UDIMs. UDIMs, or UDIM textures, UDIM files, UDIM tiles, however you call it, means using multiple image textures in one material. So what does this mean? The best way to explain it is by showing you. So let me give you an example of a situation where you might want to use UDIMs. So to demonstrate that, I prepared this very simple model. And we need to unwrap this model because, like any other texture, unwrapping and using UVs is the best way to use textures to give materials, right? So UDIMs is no different. So to use UDIMs, we need to unwrap the model first. So let's come here to UV editing and let's go to this and let's unwrap, I don't know, see everything, you unwrap. I think it's better because it's using more space here. Now let's say it's unwrapped. So by now you might be wondering what this model is all about. Yeah, why did I make this model? This is a model, this is a place where a helicopter comes and lands, right? I mean, sometimes you have some 3D models, but you don't look around, look at all parts of the model, and you come closer to some parts and you never come close to other parts like the bottom of the model, right? And when you come closer to some parts, you need higher definition, higher resolution of the texture, right? Higher resolution texture, because as the camera comes close, you need to see even smaller details. But if your texture resolution is not high, it will just break, and it won't be a good looking model at all. So we will see it now. Let's import a texture. Any texture, it's just for demonstration. So let's import this, I think. This is 1K texture. It means 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. So it's 1K, and as you can see, it's okay, but it is not a place where a helicopter can land, right? So let's change this. Let's create a new texture which is much higher resolution, okay? Maybe 4K. Let's image texture and create new texture. Maybe ground, right? And let's 4K, make it 4K, 4096, I think it was. And yeah, and the color is just black for now. Don't worry, we're going to paint on it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's totally black now, but let's go to texture painting. Let's quickly paint on this ground texture using another texture which is asphalt. You don't need to know what I'm doing now. You just, no, I'm sorry, we need to make it completely white in order to see the texture. Now I'm painting on this this is a 4K texture. It's remember, the higher resolution you have, the more difficult for Blender and for your computer to calculate it or to work. If you use 8K texture, your Blender might even freeze depending on the hardware of your computer, right? So now as we come closer, it is still not looking very realistic and not very detailed, as you can see when we come really close, right? Maybe we need to make another texture just the same way, this time 8K. Let's multiply this number by 2. First of all, it's looking a bit too tiled. Now let's save it, save all images. And it's even difficult to save. Now the ground is looking not so bad, but you know what? We're using 8K texture, which is a terrible idea for a model like this. I mean, yeah, you can use 8K, 12K, 16K, whatever K you want. Still, it's looking a bit pixelated when you go very close. Maybe this close is enough. And let's draw the letter H here. Yeah, why did I do it? Because I want to see even more detailed. If the line looks very jagged, you might know that the texture resolution is too low. So let's change the image. Let's change to ground this image and paint on this. And you can see the smoothness of your lines by changing these textures. It looks, even 4K looks very jagged compared to 8K. Yeah. So yeah. Now, and one more thing, and this is really important. Even we are using 8K, we're wasting a lot of memory, a lot of resources, because we only need high resolution here. We don't need high resolution here or here. So it's a terrible idea to use 8K texture just for the sake of this part, this single surface. So instead of that, we can use multiple textures and only use high resolution, maybe 2K texture only for this part. Okay, now let's do that. Now we are going to use UDIMs. UDIMs are especially for that. UDIMs means you can use multiple textures on in one material, which for that we change UV maps. We need another UV map called UDIMs. And we turn this on and go to UV editing and get rid of any texture here. And we will UV maps, this UV, we're using another UV. So let's change some things here. Now we have a few tiles here. Let's turn on synced selection. So Control L, these two, Control L, these three is one island, and Control L, this and this. Now let's use 3 textures as UDIM textures. One for these 2 pieces and one bigger resolution for this part, because this is the part that we come closer to and maybe come like so. And yeah, here we need higher resolution texture. So yeah, let's do something here. We can put them in different UV grids, UV tiles. Imagine we have more tiles here, like so. We have more tiles. We need 3 tiles, right? So let's put these 2 here and make them bigger, because you can and you must, because you need more resolution. We don't have to worry about these because we don't need high resolution. Actually, all of these must have the same resolution, but what I did now gives more resolution to these 2 tiles, which are here, which are not necessary. We don't worry about these. The most important thing here. So now, actually, we can multiply these UV tiles from here. You can see tiles here. Let's increase the tiles and let's get rid of this. Now we have laid out our UV so that we can use multiple textures, right? One texture is here, one texture here, and another is here. Now we need 3 textures. So let's create them. First of all, we can create textures from here. Let's create, and we call it UDIM, and we will. We don't need 8K here. For the first one, we can just get away with maybe 1K. So maybe, I don't know. And let's give 1K, 124. But it's a bit too small resolution, I think. And the really important thing is to check this tiled option. Let's go. And now there is one important thing that you must know. You can see we have a number here, which means a tile number. This is 1001, and this will be automatically 1002, and this is 1003, and the list goes on like up to 1010. So now let's create the second. But to create the second, we can open this and come here to image. And this is where UDIM tiles are hiding. The place where we can create UDIM tiles is here. So let's create a new one. This will be number 1002. And we will give it 2K resolution, 2048. And we don't have a tiled option here because Blender is already tiling the textures. Let's have this texture, and now the final one, where we can use maybe, I don't know, 4K, 440 to 96, I think, yeah, 4K for this very little part. So it's not, I think 2K would do the job. Even 2K would be enough, but let's use 4K. Now we have done the job, and now we can paint on these. So let's, but don't forget to save these textures. You save the textures from here as texture as image files from here, save. And we will choose, I don't know, one new UDIM. Oh, we already have one. Save. So we have saved. You can check it. So these are 3 files that we have saved. And you can check the resolutions, Alt, Enter, and details. This is 1024 by 1024. This one is 2048 by 2048. This one is 4K. Now we can paint. Let's go to texture paint mode and use, we are using material. We can use a single image, or we can connect that UDIM texture in material preview, material. Let's texture, image texture, and you can check this UDIM, and it automatically change this to UDIM tiles because Blender knows that it's UDIMs. UDIM is not one texture, it's multiple textures. So let's connect this. And if we come here to texture paint, we have this UDIM option. And now we can paint on, so by using our texture, which was here, let's paint on it. Oh, it's, this one is now we can change a few options from here, but I don't want to deal too much with this texture painting now because it's just for demonstration. We can look at this in shading, and let's come closer to this and look at the detail. It's not bad. So let's come this close and look at the details, and let's use this 8K texture and see the difference. This is 8K texture, which got deleted, I think. I don't know. We didn't. This is a different UV because we are using a different UV here. So we must use a different UV map. So we use this, and let's connect this one. So this one is 8K, and let's draw this line too. Okay, so shading, let's use this one, and let's come to texture painting. This is 4K texture on top of just on the necessary part. This is 8K texture, and still 8K is much lower resolution compared to this 4K, right? Remember, this is 8K and this is 4K. 4K has more resolution. We can come closer, this close, and it's looking terrible. 8K is looking much worse. As you can see, everywhere there is pixels. Yeah, and this is why we could have this 8K resolution with just 2K, but yeah, it's a much believable result, and we are using high resolution only to the place where it's necessary. Just to make things a bit more interesting, I calculated some things, so I'll show you now. Remember, we used 8K texture in the first method, and in the second method we used 3 textures, which are 1K, 2K, and 4K. So I calculated how many pixels we are dealing with in each situation. So as you can see, 4K texture has over 16 million pixels, and 2K has 4 million. In total, it will be around, I think, 21 million. And 1K texture has 1 million pixels. It will be 22 million pixels, right? But these are 3 textures using UDIMs. And now look at this one texture, one giant 8K texture, and look how many pixels it has. So it's over 67 million pixels, just one texture. So yeah, this is how you use UDIMs, why you need UDIMs, and everything about UDIM files. I hope this helps you. I think we are going to use this in the coming projects.